Fans, welcome to Sports Chat. Week 0 of high school football is basically in the books. A lot of football to talk about. We're going to go ahead and start out by, I want to give a big congratulations to Sean Jesse and the Cumberland Gap Panthers.
That's right. We went up there last night, finally got to see a game after, what was it, almost 2 hours of lightning delay.
That's okay, because we got to eat pizza.
We did.
A lot of pizza.
There was pizza.
Lots of bacon on good pizza.
I finished the pizza.
Congratulations to Sean and the entire Cumberland Gap staff and
That's right.
team. They pretty much dominated the game.
They did. I talked to Sean for a while this morning. He's very happy actually calling defense because they are letting him do what he wants. You know, one of Sean's actual big complaints at his offensive coordinator, he was not always given free hand. Like he wanted to put in 26 special and he was told no.
It was definitely a revamped offense from when Sean ran it. It's Cumberland Gap's very, very run-oriented now. Ran the veer last night.
See now, their new offensive coordinator is Corey. I can't think of his last name right now. He's Sean's cousin. He played quarterback at Cumberland Gap while we were coaching at Jacksboro, and Cumberland Gap ran the field.
So, you know, it worked well. Big thing in the game, Wartburg had a lot of special teams breakdowns on their punting game, and that just killed it.
Right.
Also, apparently Cumberland Gap lost their starting center early in the game. And they thought they lost the quarterback towards the end, but it turns out he's okay.
Cumberland Gap did.
Wartburg did, sorry.
It was, you know, it's just those special teams mistakes from Wartburg.
In the red zone.
From what I understand, that was their backup punter.
Mm-hmm.
Because their punter's injured. You know, they've had a lot of injury issues, and you know, every time they had their back at the 20-yard line, the snap was going over his head or dropping it, or you know, he was having to scramble. I think we saw 3 punt failures, 1 blocked, and the other 2 he was simply just tackled because he couldn't clean the field.
Right, just bad special teams miscues.
And that led to some early Cumberland Gap touchdowns and just put Wartburg in a big hole, and they never were able to get out of it.
And you know, me and Rodney were just on the phone. They were 11 of 22 passing. Sounds pretty good, right? For 21 yards.
I noticed they were throwing a lot of stuff behind the line of scrimmage and a lot of their misdirection plays that usually work well for them, but you know, credit to Cumberland Gap's defense and Coach Jesse, they had it sniffed out.
And you know, the one play that they had some really good success with was 26 special.
Yeah.
A play that by all rights, Sean, out of all the coaches that they play this year, Sean is the only one that should even know how to defend that.
Well, it's really hard to defend even if you know how.
I mean, there's a lot you can do out of that, just besides that run.
It was a good game though. And Wartburg had a lot of injury issues. They gave it their best. Is what they could put out there. Cumberland Gap just, you know, looks like they've got a really good team this year probably. You know, I heard they had 13 seniors back this year, and I heard that they were going to be a pretty good team. The year they went 10-1, they also had 13 seniors.
Right, and you know, last year Cumberland Gap had a rough year, but Cumberland Gap's been an all-around successful team.
Yeah, and they got a pretty big team for their side of the school too. A lot of people go out with that team. You know, Jordan T here from Campbell County, he had a pretty good game.
So did Damian Kitts from Campbell County.
I heard Jordan's name called. Jordan defended a touchdown pass. Heard him make a few tackles.
Yeah, Jordan had a good game. You gotta say, proud of him. You know, he had a good career at La Follette on the middle school level.
Yeah, you know, the game got started really late. I'm not sure how that affected. You know, I'm not sure if that affected Wartburg or not. It's hard. You get really high up for a game like that, and then you have to wait till after. You know, there's no excuses, I guess. You know, I'm sure Coach Ellison's going to have them working really hard on Monday, especially on those punts and everything.
Shifting gears a little bit to the local teams, Jellicoe got off to a really rough start last night. They lost 58-0 to arch rival Williamsburg.
That's to be expected, as we've said in previous weeks. Jellicoe only has 16 or 17 players on the team, and God, you just get wore completely out quickly. You don't have backups at all.
Well, I mean, they have 17 on the team, and I think 6 of them are freshmen.
You know, so that just,
They have 3 seniors on the team.
you know, it's going to take a while for people to want to. You know, I wish the kids at Jellicoe, they could field a bigger team. They could get 25 or 30 players on.
Which is not bad for that level of
That's
football.
about what you expect at that level of football, and that gives you 2 full strings on offense and defense, and a couple of backups.
I mean, you look at the other teams in that district. Wartburg has a pretty good sized team.
It looks like they run 40 on Wartburg's team.
Onada has a pretty good sized team.
Onada has 40 or 50 on their team.
And you figure Coalfield's about the same position Wartburg's in numbers wise.
Well, Coach Ellison, mentioned last week that just the minimum for that level should be around 25 players.
Right. So I mean, that's a lot to do. And even so, folks in Jellicoe, go out and support your team.
I mean, I can say that because of the new coach, but from what I understand, there were only around 19 players on the team last year. So Jellicoe you don't have much community support, as we saw from the stands up there, and I guess it reflects on the kids that don't go out for the team. Instead of being that way, give more support to the ones who actually try.
Absolutely.
Now, the other big game of the week, Campbell County went to Seymour for the Justin and Matt Price's big debut.
Now, things didn't go as well as we'd have liked.
So that's another thing that doesn't surprise me a whole lot. They looked good in the jamboree, but that was against Onada, a much smaller school. But Seymour down there at their place, there was also a delay in that game. It was 14-0.
Well, it was actually an even worse delay because it was a mid-game delay.
Right. We saw from Anderson County the night before last. Anderson County's in a close game. You have the long range delay. They come out and just blow it. Having Tennessee against Oregon last year, Tennessee was ahead 13-7 and had the big lightning delay. Came out, Oregon ran it all over. And that happens sometimes. Campbell County's offense, it struggled a little bit against Seymour, but with a new system in place like this, you just don't expect struggles for a while, especially in road games and hostile situations.
Campbell County did have a very big special teams highlight, and I want to give all kinds of credit to Bo Ferris. He had an almost touchdown run back set up, Campbell County to score. Bo, always a tough player on the middle school level. I'm glad to see him out playing high school football. And I expect big things from him his entire high school career.
Defensively, the Cougars struggled a little bit. That's another thing that doesn't surprise me a great deal that happened.
Simply because you've got a new system in place. And
it's a new system, we said, there's so much turmoil and trouble between Wells leaving and Price's being hired as coaches and the whole part of missing spring practice and just everything like that.
Right, I mean, spring practice was literally about fundamentals this year. And while that's great, fundamentals are important, man, it is, tough not to work on your offensive system.
So the Cougars it's going to be a rough year. I've said it all summer, and I'll say it now. It's going to be a rough year. But, you look and see if they're trying hard. They tried hard the entire game. That was in the fourth quarter, I think, when they scored that touchdown, late in the third quarter. And, they gave effort the entire game. That's what you want to see right now.
Right. I mean, there's no quitting these guys.
So, next week, come out to the home game, Cumberland County.
Cumberland County, we got a decent shot at them. Some good fan support would probably go a long way.
I will say this much too. From what I understand, at least last year, Cumberland or Seymour ran the spread offense,
and that's what they were projected to run this year.
So they were more equipped to deal with our spread offense than most teams are going to be. They know more about it, And most high school teams are going to run the ball a lot and not be as equipped to deal with spread offense. That was just a particular team who's ran the spread And, you know, it's not as easy as, you know, after they've ran it all these years, they know what to look for on defense.
And if you want to take a look around the district, of course, we know Anderson County lost. Halls, who was just, you know, the basement of the district last year, beat Clinton.
Sort of surprised me. Clinton looked pretty good in the Jamboree we saw. You know, they were dominating on the run, but you just never know what's going to happen from week to week in these games.
And Powell just owned Ray County.
Now, Powell is exceptional. You know,
Powell's top of the class in the district this year.
It's going to be between Powell and Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge is also projected to be very good this year.
Now, there's some interesting, you know, if you all are out looking for good high school football, if you watch this tonight, you know, there's a big doubleheader in Maryville, in Blount County, Maryville and Alcoa. Alcoa is on that 43-game win streak. They're taking on Harlan County. No, that's Morristown East is taking on Harlan County. But the big one is Maryville Webb, 2 state champions going against each other.
We'll see how that one works out. I honestly expect Maryville to dominate them.
Why do too?
Because frankly, Maryville dominates everyone they play besides Alcoa.
And Maryville Alcoa this year should be much more even than it was last year.
You know, Webb may be able to get, you know, maybe people expect Maryville to actually win that game versus Alcoa this year. I mean,
For the first time in a couple of years.
Maryville dominated the series for about 5 years, and then Alcoa's dominated for the last 2 or 3. But they're usually classic games, though. You know, it's not complete domination on the field. It usually comes down to a touchdown or 2. We'll see how Webb can play and stack up against Maryville. You know, Maryville's expected to repeat as state champion again this year, and they're a bigger school than Webb.
Actually, Webb is also expected to repeat in their division, but they probably will not have the guns to compete with Maryville.
Maryville's just hard. I mean, you know, if they do, you know, it'll be a big feather in their cap.
Right, if they can even keep it close, it'll be a big feather in their cap.
Whoever Alcoa's playing, I expect they'll dominate that team. Unless it's just a state champion level team from one of the other states.
Now, in other high school news, there's or not another high school, another football news. The 2 middle schools played this week in Jamborees.
Yeah, they faced off against traveling teams from Powell and Fulton. Knox County has not got middle school football.
These are, for you folks that understand Little League football out there, these are what are considered super midgets. You can have players up to 15 years old on the team.
It showed that these were big kids on this team, and you know, that's just 2 football-rich areas anyway.
And plus, let's give Follett some credit. They were playing without their head coach, Chris Honeycutt, and I gotta admire the heck out of Chris for this. Chris, before he was ever named coach, had committed to going on a mission trip with his church to Ecuador. Now, it would have been real easy to say, I've got all these new responsibilities, I have to be here with my team. But Chris, you know, he stood by his commitment and went to Ecuador. Now, Johnny Massengill, who, you know, he's had some football success of his own in the past, long time with Follett and Jellicoe assistant. You know, he ran the team well.
It's just hard to match up for a normal middle school to these all-star teams like that. And it showed on the field.
Oh, yeah. And again, there were some of those folks on the field that were freshmen.
You know,
and they knew that going in.
Honestly think that Fulton team especially could probably compete with Campbell County High School.
They had some, honestly, they had some players on that team.
They had a dozen players that were full, you know, bigger than us. You know, they towered over the coaches.
Yeah.
They towered
that
over
number 1 was a monster.
Oh, yeah, I mean, and it's like number 9 for Powell. God, he was probably 6'4", maybe 250 pounds. He just wreaked havoc on offense and defense both.
On the upside, in the super skills competition, outside of one of the 40-yard dashes, Campbell County's team showed well. Austin Raines won the punt competition. Elijah Powell won the 40-yard dash in his division, and I think it was a LaFollette player that won the throwing competition.
Yeah, LaFollette player won the throwing competition, and you know, for actual middle school teams, you know, you can't really judge much by that because I say Fulton and Powell are just two powerhouse organizations that have played together for years as an all-star unit.
Right, I mean, you got to figure these kids have always played the same Little League system.
Yeah.
That Fulton team has played 4 games in Alabama this year against other competition.
They've been traveling around the country playing already. This is not, it's just a different level of football that they play at than actual middle school football. So
Now
don't judge a lot by that.
this coming Thursday's when to come out.
Yeah.
Jacksboro will be at home against Lake City. You can come hear my golden voice for that game. You've been asking me nice, I might wish somebody a happy birthday for you, like Harley.
It is her birthday next Thursday.
It is.
Indeed.
LaFollette will be on the road to take on, I believe it's Norris. Now Norris has a former Jacksboro player, part of that Jacksboro Johnny Bruce coaching tree, coaching for them.
Norris has got a good program down there going. Be a tough challenge for LaFollette in their new system. They didn't. It was so overwhelming in the Jamboree game that I'm not even certain what they would normally run, especially with their head coach gone. But they would snap the ball and Powell would be in the backfield as soon as they snapped it. So you couldn't really tell from that. So we'll see what they run against Norris and how they look. I think they'll look obviously much better than they did against Powell. In Jacksboro's case, they got an established system they're going to run. Got some good players to run it with.
Tyler Loveday had some good throws at quarterback.
And Koji Ursino had some good runs. As good as you can get against that level of competition. I mean, you really.
And look for Austin Raines to do some good stuff in short yardage.
He's good. Defensive tackle too. He's pretty good.
Oh yeah, I mean he's literally going to probably be,
And
if I remember right, a 3-year starter.
so we mentioned the punt. He won the punt competition. He's actually been, he's a punter and punts it really well when they bother with punting.
So I mean, there's a lot to look forward to from both middle schools this year. And so go out and support the Cougars and the Devils. They may surprise you. They may win some games. Even if they don't, those kids deserve the support.
So
These are 2 brand new coaching staffs.
This is your learning year for both of them, and if any game you win is a big bonus. But you just look for effort this year. You look to see how the system's getting implemented this year. Just wins, like I say, are a bonus for you. And we'll see how they do out there.
Well, fans, we're going to go ahead and wrap this segment up. We'll be back talking about high school sports a little bit more, plus college football and pro football. We'll be right back.